Sauce.
Hey, you like Pez?
It looks like that. Here's Heaney from the boundary line. He's an expert at these. From the boundary line!
Hello and welcome to Behind the Boundary podcast. I'm your host Pez. I'm here with Sauce, here for a Saturday morning special when the Friday night game, Brisbane taking on St Kilda, has already happened, Sauce.
Welcome Pez, and thank you for the breakfast, Pez. It was very nice. It definitely was a Saturday special, some eggs and bacon, some cheese, and what a way to start the weekend. Had a win on the Saturday night, the Friday night. Nice win there, Pez, the Saints.
Yeah, good one. No, we'll speak about the game. Big stories out of that, and we still need to go through last week. But it is Saturday. We are moving into round 22, the second last round of the AFL season. The top 8 is looking juicy. With Brisbane's win, it puts them into, I think, second place at the minute. But a couple of teams still to play that can take over with better percentage as well. Yeah,
really interesting going into finals, Pez. You know, there's some huge questions that I think are going to be answered over the next couple of weeks. You know, you've got the Cats who are sitting top of the ladder. They're in great form, but obviously everyone's question is, does it matter during regular season? Because you've got the nagging finals hurdle that they always seem to struggle with. You've got the Swans who we thought, a couple of weeks ago, Pez, we'd written them off. They've bounced back with a couple of huge wins. They look in control. They've got a good profile. They're young, and hopefully they can get through to probably a prelim final, but they've got the formula there. Got a lot of questions about the Lions, not only about what they're doing on the field, but a lot more questions about their mental capacity in the way that they're standing up in big games. And the big one, can they win in Melbourne? And then of course there's those other teams that sort of round out the 8 pairs. You got Carlton, whether they can hold on to an early season surge that they had early on. You've got questions about Melbourne. Are they just a sleeping giant waiting? Got questions about the Doggies. Can they make it? Richmond, is the dynasty over? Fremantle, can they win away from home? It's going to be a jam-packed finals in 2022.
Yeah, well, there were some statements last week with Richmond demolishing Port Adelaide
huge
and
statements.
Getting themselves into the 8, and they hopefully will. I think they should continue this week against Hawthorn. But a massive game coming up, Collingwood versus Sydney. Collingwood sit on 60 points and Sydney sit on 56. So for the top 4 there, Sydney's top 4 hopes are on the line, and Collingwood play Carlton in round 23 as well. Carlton probably need to win that to get into the finals. There's so much to happen in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's all sort of with the way that everything's panning out, it could look like Carlton are playing Melbourne this week. They probably lose that one, and it could be a Sunday 3:30 traditional time slot. Carlton playing Collingwood. Collingwood wins, they secure a top 4 spot, and Carlton wins, they make finals. But obviously the great battle for that last round. But Pez, let's get into the round that just was. There were some huge stories there, some contentious issues that we're throwing out the week. How do you want to run this down, Pez? We're going to go through our bet review, or what are we going to do?
Yeah, let's just go bet review. It is Saturday. We'll get through it as we can and then speak about round 22 to come.
Saturday footy, Pez.
Soft review. It's no official review. How does it end? We don't know. They've kind of lost, but they won as well.
Well, here we are. We're reviewing round 21, and it's tables turned this week because Pez had a shocker and Sauce was a good one, and there's a couple of other punters, our good friends on Twitter, who had some good weeks, Sauce. So I guess just the shitty punters had good weeks last week.
I wouldn't be talking, mate. You've the made-up COVID that you had last week. Just try to escape when Sauce has a victory. And every week when I have, I say a bad round, I'm still sitting here 30 units up or whatever for the year, and I'm still sitting there, and I front up every week. But the moment I have one good week, and not one good week, but one better week than you, because we always have good weeks, boom. The old fake COVID comes out. You just had COVID a month ago,
Yeah,
Pez.
it wasn't me. It was COVID in the Pez household again.
Unconfirmed.
The little one, very confirmed.
I didn't get any of those pregnancy tests with the double lines there. All I got was red crosses on the bed.
Because I didn't have time to do anything. I didn't have time to sleep. I didn't know. I was up all hours.
So
of
the
the night
excuses come out for the bed slip. Didn't have time, eh?
No work, and had to do my bets on the way to the footy last night for last night's game, and this morning for the rest of them. So it was good. I think we're past the worst of it and ready to go for this Saturday. But last week, Sauce, we started with Melbourne taking on Collingwood, and same story again. Melbourne out to an early lead, don't capitalise, and Collingwood, their pressure in the second half, absolutely amazing, came storming home and got the chocolates in the end. I had a line of minus 12.5, so I put a bonus bet. I put a max 2 units on that, and was laughing because it closed around, well, it was 19.5 and then closed around 18.5. So I beat the line by 6 points, and no good. 2 red crosses there.
Yeah, I mean, this game was such an interesting game. Before we get into the betting of it, Pez, it had a lot attached to it, because nowhere in the world, this game's played 1,000 times, Pez, and every week we say this, that Collingwood have no business winning this. They lost 3 or 4 categories, important categories, Pez, by 20 or more, and win the game. Like, they lost the inside 50s by 24, Pez. Incredible. Like, they're winning the clearance. They lost the centre clearance 21-7, and they're still getting away with the win. So it's incredible stuff at what they're doing at the moment.
Crazy season from Collingwood. If they can string it together and get these close games, there'll be some amazing finals. But if they can not do that, not finish in the top 4, go out maybe the first round or second round.
Look at you sit there smiling, you're loving it.
The narrative is coming up. 2018 grand final day. One of the greatest days of all time in the AFL, when Collingwood were 5 goals up at quarter time, and West Coast rolled them with a Dom Sheed goal in that fourth quarter.
Do you know what it does have a bit of a sense of this year? This has a little bit back to what, 209. A little bit of 209. Geelong first on a big winning streak. Collingwood second, big winning streak. Yeah, hopefully it plays out that way.
No idea what you're trying to say.
So Geelong won the premiership that year.
Yeah, against St Kilda. Great. That's awesome.
2 years later.
2 years later, 2011.
Anyway, let's get into my bet, Pez, because it was a very frustrating one to watch. I had over 149.5. It definitely got that. It looked like it was going to get that in the first quarter. It was a very high scoring first quarter. Melbourne plus 18.5, so they lost by that 12. So that almost came the undoing. Pez, I've never watched a kick more closely, and even was text you about bullshit AFL rules, even though I knew the answer. I had the under 184.5. There was a kick after the siren.
Yep.
Missed. Max Gawn got his mitt to it. So I was hoping that the rule was that as soon as someone touches it, like basketball, game over. And it made the score 185.
Ooh, 0.5 misses out. Grab your bonus there from Neds.
Yes.
Very, very poor their source, but technically it counts. But they shouldn't have even had a couple of those set shots. It was very high scoring.
Very high scoring.
Which is not good for you, especially with the alternate under. The next game was Hawthorn versus the Gold Coast, and Hawthorn got the chocolates in this one. I had my cheeky same game multi, but it was refunded, even though Gunston started off well, kicked the 2 goals in that first quarter, but refunded straight away because Giath didn't take the field.
Yeah, well, that was lucky for you, Pez. I had Gold Coast plus 29.5 and the under in this game. Both of those got up a nice little $25 bonus bet for me, Pezza.
Oh, well, there you go. You'll take that there.
Always taking that. The next game, though, not very helpful at all, Pez. I totally missed this one. And about the team I wasn't going to talk about. Had Essendon to win by 40 plus. They didn't even win the game. And Essendon to lead it every quarter. And they didn't do that either. So very disappointing for me. Yeah,
well, very disappointing because Giants just came out and had it going. Essendon were heavy favourites in the game and disappointed their fans once again, because I don't know why their fans would be up and about from a few wins at the end of the season when the season's already over. But 2023 might be your year, Essendon, where you can win a final. The next game was the Bulldogs taking on Fremantle. It looks like you had a bit of a bonus there.
Loved the money in this one, Pez. I had the bonus bet match for Fremantle. Had 40 on them with the remainder of from my cheeky, and loved the value in this one. $64 free money, Pez.
Mate, this one, shocker for me, and this summed up my round because under 74.5 for Fremantle, they could have nearly got that in the first half. It was ridiculous how the Bulldogs were letting the ball go down the other end. And Rory Lobb, he was kicking them from everywhere, straight as an arrow from outside 50. I've never seen a forward kick as well as he was kicking in that first half. And
long bombs too. The outside
massive.
50, huge. It seems his problem must be with inside 25, but the outside 50 goals, it was good to see. A big forward just clunk them.
And I didn't read this at all because I thought Bulldogs, minus 12.5, Fremantle away from home, Bulldogs needing to win to get into the finals. Trendbetter's pick, Trendy on Twitter that most of our listeners would know. Massive capping comp there, and I had him as my short pick and
Who, the Dogs?
Stuffed it up, yep.
Yeah, Jeff.
Last week.
Should have followed Sauce. Sauce had a good round.
Yeah, did you?
I had Fremantle as my short pick last week.
Oh, awesome.
Ripper.
Where are you sitting? You're
7th now.
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah,
excellent.
Another 2 points last night, Pez. Might put me up a little bit higher.
2 points for me.
Here I come. Watch out.
I'm only sitting second, but
it's very close. They're very close.
It is very important because with Trendbetter's comps, if anyone follows him.
Make
on
sure
Twitter
you
and knows.
have give Trendy a follow. He runs a comp every year with AFL, NFL. I'm sure he does it with other things as
And
well. It's an amazing comp.
If Pez can get over the line and actually get the AFL win, I'll be the first one ever to win the NFL comp and the AFL comp. How good would that be?
So good, Pez. Do you remember the time we sat in the pub and we went through a range of different teams for the NFL? Got no idea this bloke. No idea.
Well, Source is an avid NFL fan, and I joined the comp just for a laugh, and $100 entry, whatever, $3,000 prize, and ended up winning the Lions comp for the NFL, and had no idea, never watched a game. I can't really get into it, and still not really into it.
The best was the year after you won it, because then you started watching it and you did shit ass.
So then we were sitting at the pub, and Source decides, all right, you're so good at tipping the lines. Let's
because he was talking a big game, as you can imagine.
Let's have a look at the
unlike
teams.
you to be rubbing my nose in it.
You'd name cities, I couldn't name the teams, or you'd name teams, I couldn't name the cities.
At one stage, I showed you a logo and you didn't even know what it was.
No idea. Absolutely no idea. But Geelong, St Kilda, down at GMHBA, second quarter, St Kilda showed a little bit of fight and showed they were up for the contest, and then Geelong just bang over the top.
Yeah,
Very
bang
good.
over the top, Bears. I was a little disappointed in this one because you and I were meant to be having some beers with it. So I decided to take do a little bit of betting in the game, and I put down one of my bonus bets. I had a lot on this game, and this summed up my round. And as you'll know, Pez, Geelong wins, and I'm a happy boy, but especially when I bet on it. So Atkins to get 15, Stengel to get 2 or more, and Brad close to anytime goal
Pez
scorer.
special.
The Pez special gets up early days, Pez. I had big 50 on that one, 3 times the amount there. So I had 2 units on that one for 150 return. I had my same game multi, my bonus bet, Pez, which was Atkins to get 15. I think I had
Geelong for the win.
Geelong for the win, and it was Stengel to get 2 goals. And that got up. Sorry, the media management here stuffed up there.
No, because it didn't stuff up because you didn't leave any space.
I didn't leave any space.
So many
I
bets
put
down.
another bet down, and I thought it was an absolute gem. And this paid off in the first quarter, Pez, so I was loving life.
Right at the end.
No, first quarter.
Yeah, at the end of the
at
first
the end
quarter.
of the first quarter, yep. So I was loving it. Mitchy Duncan, he actually had a shot earlier on and it sprayed it, and I thought, that's going to be the one
There's the
opportunity.
chance.
But 25 bonus bet, him for $3, 5 to kick an anytime goal scorer. Could have got 2 pairs, but only needed the one. Nice little 2-unit profit there off bonus bet that I lost earlier in the day.
Oh, very, very good.
Oh, sorry, not earlier in the day. It's from Friday night.
Port Adelaide taking on Richmond there, Source.
You.
No good for me because I had the try bet 1 to 24 any team, and it was looking great the whole time, and then Richmond just went bang, 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 3 goals in a row and ended up winning by 38 or so, and that bet was no good for me.
Yeah, I didn't have a bet in this game. Used it in one of my same game multis with Port Adelaide and West Coast. Both of those losers. So losers for me.
Yep, no good. North versus Sydney, I had nothing.
I had a sneaky bonus bet. Was feeling the goal scorers from the night before.
Jeez.
Chucked down
Bit of
a
confidence.
sneaky 5 on Isaac Heaney to kick 5 or more. He ended up with 3. Had a couple of opportunities, Pez, but a little bit unselfish, and but that not to be.
5 plus, what is he paying there? 8.25, so no good there for the bonus. And then we moved on to Brisbane versus Carlton, which was the middle game there. I had Brisbane minus 14.5, over 145, and Cam Rayner to kick a goal. And we're not talking about last night where he kicked 4. He missed a running shot on the left boot against Carlton there, and ended up getting a bonus for lads, which I've turned into a Saturday special today.
Of course, it's a Saturday special. Nothing unspecial about today. I had West Coast plus 1.5 at the line. That didn't get up. The Eagles couldn't get it done for Kennedy in his amazing performance. 8 goals. Pez, that's what we should have looked at. If we had had a podcast last week properly and we talked about that being his last game, we definitely would have got him for 5 or more goals. He looked incredible.
Yep, very good. And the multi, no good for me on the Friday night, which Melbourne didn't get
We
up.
had the same multi in this one, Pez, for memory, and Melbourne let us both down.
And the Mug messaging us as well, Mug Punter. He added Essendon to his, so wouldn't have even received a bonus either. So very
Jokes
unlucky
on
there,
you, mate.
isn't it?
Let's get in. Take a little.
He's not going to like that.
Tell you what, though, I have been loving the interaction and loving the advice. It's
Interaction's very good. So LK messages on Twitter. He goes, "When's the last time Pez was 7 units down after the first 4 games?" And we just said, never have been.
every other week, every other season it is. Every other season. This is the one season where he's actually beaten me. Every other year I'm carrying the podcast. But round 21 was a throwback Thursday, I think it was, because I carried the team this round.
Oh, the Throwback Thursday hashtag on the Instagram there. But Derek also DM'd us. He DM'd us a very cheeky bet source. I don't know if you saw this on the Twitter. It was a bet paying $27.57. So this is what he needed. He needed Brisbane to lead it every quarter against Carlton, which tick. Brisbane 1 to 39 ended up being a tick. Zach Bailey 2+ goals. tick.
Love that.
And under 190 alternate points, which we love the alternate points here, but that high scoring last quarter absolutely killed it. And 74 points were scored in the last quarter to go over 190. So it's heartbreak there for Derek. That was very, very cheeky of him.
Derek, yeah, nice little. Make sure you flick across all your bets there. We can post them, and it'd be good if you get them in early, so Pez doesn't have another terrible round, and you can actually get a win. But let's you're delaying the inedible here, Pez, to talk about your round 21.
Oh,
yeah. You always forget this one. This is the 1 week that I'm not making sure I'm on it. So while you get your units up there.
I always forget this when I even have a good week.
Yeah, well, I'm making sure we're not forgetting this week. For round 21, I staked 7 units. I felt like I ran through a lot more bets. There was a lot of bonus bets. Yeah. Returned 15.39 pairs, a positive profit of 8.39 units. Staked for the year 166.84 units pairs and returned 193.67. You're making fun of me at the end, copping some banter about how I finally had a good week, Pez. I'm sitting there at 26 units profit. Most punters would love anywhere around 10, and I'm sitting there with 26.
Be profiting around 26 units profit. Very, very good. I staked 9 units through the week, returned 1, and the 1 unit I returned was the refunded bet.
So you didn't even return it. So really you're only staked 8 units and you won nothing.
In the Hawthorn
You
Gold
cheeky
Coast.
bastard.
So, yeah.
You should have got the old donut bet out again, Pez. Jesus Christ. No, you need to go back and fix that.
So for the year, 195.4 units stake source and 265.06 returns for a profit of loss of 69.66 units. So went a little bit below 70, but did have a win last night, which we'll speak about in our bet slip here.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you did. I definitely did not.
The fact that the size of the bets was relatively small.
Our bets with an opportunity about 50 metres out.
I was with a mate and we were getting sort of ready to leave, and he said, I think I'm going to whack 10 on Maxi. Do you want some as well? And I said,
Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
Oh, Pez, the Saturday special. I don't mind the Saturday. I'm a bit up and about, had a feed, and let's get into the specials for the round.
Cyril takes a special and goes bang.
Yeah, well, under the pump here. And we spoke about Muggs Multi because he messaged saying, I put my 3 legs on and didn't get it up there. So you got to be really careful. It's got to be $1.10 minimum. It's very hard to see terms and conditions on tab.
Oh, it's super hard, yeah. You got
$1.10 minimum, I'm pretty sure. $2 overall for the multi in total. And you can't multiply it because I tested that earlier in the year source where I didn't get I tried to test it in multiple weeks, but I just kept winning the multis. So it was quite hard. And then I finally lost one and didn't get my bonus from the 1 leg loss.
There,
but Sportsbet have the bet returns if you are eligible for that. Ladbrokes, they still got the 3 leg same game multi, 1 refund per day, which is very good. The footy, the $2 lines, Friday is already gone, but the Sunday games have $2 line source and the mega multi. Now, Ned's, they got the 3+ same game multi, 1 refund per day. So you can only go, Friday's gone, Saturday. So you can have 1 multi on the Saturday, 3+ legs, and get your return, but not on Sunday. So just be careful there. Sunday, $2 lines as well they've got. You head into Bet365 who have the normal and tab. They've got all games, same game multi. They've gone back down to 3+ legs, which we love. And then you've also got the 3+ head-to-head multi special for all games this round. And we just spoke about what the terms and conditions are there. Now, Moneyball, I can't see source, so I've no idea.
Yeah, Moneyball, they've got a heap out. Being Saturday, we know that they are a little bit later coming out. And with their specials, there's a heap of head-to-head ones, which we love. There's a heap of goal kicking ones. I'll go through them quickly, Pez. Dunkley versus Whitfield. Obviously, all these are $2 lines, $50 maximum, $50.01. Dawson versus Simpson. Anderson versus Guthrie. Oliver versus Walsh, and Sarong versus Gaff. And then they've also got their first goal scorer bundles. For this one, it is a max bet of 50. Most of them are about $3 odds, but there's one in every game. Have a look at those ones. Make sure you're betting responsibly, and you look at them because normally what they've done is they put normally a big forward in there, and then they put someone else who's not really going to have a shot, and they do that for both teams. So have a look through Moneyball. And I've also got another one, Pez. A mate of mine actually has quit his job. He's gone into...
He stole our idea, donut bet.
He didn't go into donut bet, Pez, and he hasn't used any... actually, I was about to say he hasn't used any food, but he has. He's gone the old mint bet.
Oh, just the minties.
Just the old minties, but obviously mint for money. It's a two things. They've just released their app this week, Pez. It is a fantastic app, and it's really easy to use. It's very similar to like Sportsbet. There's not a lot of lagging into it, and they've got a couple of promotional specials this week. I've jumped on this one, Pez. This is an absolute godsend. Bye Bye Buddy SCG Swan Song Special. So they've gone, favourite of the show, Pez. They've gone with the alliteration, the puns. They're all over it. $2 for Buddy to kick a goal in the Swans versus Pies game, and if you mention the name Spice, the old Spicer. That's the mate of mine in the chat. They should be able to hook you up with some bonus bets. So jump on in there. Hopefully we can get him on as an unofficial sponsor. Well, actually, you know what? Hopefully we can get him on as an official sponsor.
We've got a few unofficial sponsors on the show. We need an official one to get underway with the way we're going. But MintBet, I've just downloaded. It's got a little... reminds me of a bit of Dan Murphy's about it with that little logo.
The app's really good, Pez. It's really easy to navigate around. They've got for the racing, they've got the live racing in the camera feed. It's pretty good. Very easy to deposit. The only thing that I would suggest for them is to get the old Apple Pay, but it's incredible. Gone from a couple of weeks where they've just been online. It's actually a really good story. They started off just as the bookies actually at the races, and that's all they were going into, but doing so well that they've. He's quit his job as a tradie. He's gone into the mint bet industry, so into the punting. And so it's going well.
He's probably hoping that I don't join up on the mint bet. I might be. Do they ban you quickly on mint bet? Do you think?
Well, I'm user number 856, Pez. So I can't imagine they'd be banning people this early. But maybe when they get up into the high thousands after the promotions we've just gotten them, they'll look to ban you.
Mint bet. I'll join when they start sponsoring the show. Beautiful.
Oh, Pez, you're not going to jump on the SCG Swan Song? That's a great bet.
I just downloaded the app. Give me some time. We have to speak about our bet slip for round 22, and we had a game last night, St Kilda versus Brisbane. Out of quarantine in my household, so I was able to go down to this game, which is fantastic. Got there nice and early. We were in the front row, and I bet against the Saints. Source. I thought the line was too good. It started at 9.5 earlier in the week. I got it at 13.5. I could have got it at 12.5, but I went the extra on Neds for the $2 line at 13.5. And boy, was this a sweat throughout the game because Brisbane were dominant early, couldn't capitalise, which happens a lot with these Brisbane Lions. And then St Kilda came back, kicked 5-10 to 5-3 in the second half. Max King, big story of the day, 0-5 Source. But even bigger story, Cam Rayner, 4 goals.
Which is the bigger story, Pez? The sort of coming of Rayner, and we know that he's a favourite. He's a fan favourite of the show, but he's a friend of the show, and he's having a great season this year, and he's finally standing up in these big moments. And this is why he went so early in that draft, and that's why we've backed him. But the biggest story has to be Max King in this, Pez. 0-5, and this is not the first time that he's done this. He had that breakout game against Geelong early in the year where he absolutely clunked them in, but outside of that, it's been really disappointing for this young fella.
Yeah, sits 5th on the goals, and he's 38-33 from set shots now. 4 set shots which just went astray. A couple from about 15 metres out directly in front Source, and if he kicked a couple of those, and the Saints as well. We had Membry, we had Windhager miss a couple of set shots there. The Saints could have stolen that from Brisbane and stolen Brisbane's premiership chances. Like, that's how big it was on the line for these Brisbane Lions, and St Kilda kind of kicked themselves out of it in the end. But they changed their game plan too late because they were kicking long down the line, suited Brisbane in the first half, and didn't work out. But when we talk about Max King, a lot of fans, and I see a lot of hate for Max King in terms of his goal kicking. He goes quiet in games. They don't like his work rate. Now, the thing I say is he hasn't played 60 games yet. He's 21 years old.
22.
20. When was his birthday?
I don't know. It says here. I just read the article. 22.
Well, they may be wrong. Doesn't matter. We'll say he's got a overseas little birth certificate there. I am 12. With a little photo of Max King with his mustache there.
7th of July 2000, Pez. So just had a birthday. It's all right.
Is it 2021?
2000. So 2022. 2022.
All right, he's 22. He's 22, which doesn't change a lot because he's a young forward, and forwards usually take a while to get in. So I wonder what some of the best forwards in the game are doing. Tom Hawkins, Lance Franklin. What were they doing at 21? I haven't looked at the stats or anything like that, but I imagine that Max King over the next 10 plus seasons is going to be a dominant force in the AFL. He's going to get bigger, he's going to get stronger, his goal kicking is going to, naturally improve, and he's going to get that mental side out of it. And I don't think there's a lot to worry about. Yes, this season, poor with the goal kicking, but I think that will improve over time. He will mature, and he's going to be a dominant force for years to come in the AFL.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, Pez, and the coach backed him last night as well. And you're totally right. Like, goal kickers, when they come into the league, are really tough because they've gone from, in most cases, especially key forwards, being the biggest bloke, men against boys, but then they come up against men against giants. And realistically, you look at, you quoted Tom Hawkins then, as well as Buddy Franklin. Tom Hawkins in his first year kicked 12 goals, 10. Pretty inaccurate. If you look at Buddy Franklin, he had a little bit more success from 5 games. Well, geez, 5 games actually is pretty good.
What did he kick?
Oh, that's 5 wins. Okay, so 20. Oh, jeez, I said that's really good. So 20 games, he kicked 21-13, so a little bit better, but the same sort of thing. Highly inaccurate. But we're also comparing to 2 of the modern forwards of their time. We know that big men, when they come in there after playing in the under 10s and dominating, basically under the TAC and dominating, it's hard, and there's a lot more work than just being big in these situations. Brett Ratton handled it perfectly last night, saying that he's doing a power of work, and that he has him in his corner. He's backed him. The thing that I didn't like is that they said that they didn't want external help. That's one of those ones where you've done a great sort of sentence. You're like, yep, it's great, whatever. We back him. He's doing all this work. But why wouldn't you lean on someone who wants to help?
I spoke about Plugger last week, and his technique, the 4 steps, bang, doesn't twirl the ball or anything. If you can't get him down, they had Matthew Lloyd working with Max King, and Matthew Lloyd has said that he nearly had it out of him in his technique down pat, because Matthew Lloyd, even though he pissed people off when he's ripping up the grass and throwing it in the air, an amazing set shot for goal source. And these days it seems players are better on the run when the pressure's off and the crowd influence isn't there, the mental factor, whatever it is. There's so many different factors, and I don't understand that part of what Brett Ratton was saying. If you can get someone externally, the club's got plenty of money. You pay him whatever you need to pay him. If they can fix one of your most dominant forwards in the AFL and make him into a 70% set shot kicker instead of 50%, you're going to win a hell of a lot more games. You're going to be in finals. Yeah,
I definitely, I agree wholeheartedly that I think if external help's available there, but at the same time, it's sort of contradicting what we're saying. Like, he's still super young. Let's let him naturally form these things. At training, don't work on your running as much. You don't need to. Work on your forward patterns, work on getting the gym in there, but then spend, like it sounds like he's doing already, half an hour after just analysing your ball drop. Because that's all it seems to be. It's his ball drop. It's the routine aspect. Get into a good routine, drop the ball, flush on the boot, laces facing out, and just get a good connection to it.
The scary, he was kicking well before the game, and I was there watching Max King's
then it's a
kicking
mental
for goals.
thing, so get someone else in for that.
What he was doing, and I mentioned it to the missus there when we were sitting there, is he's twirling the ball in his hands. And when he's twirling the ball, he's not guaranteed to hit the same spot of the ball every single time. I don't understand.
Is it to get the feel of the footy or something like that?
Maybe just a natural way that he's kicked goals growing up, and it's just happened. But
any young listeners out there, because I do know when you're out in the backyard and you're playing, you spin the footy and stuff, get out of that habit straight away early.
Yeah,
get into a good routine.
You might think it looks cool, or one of your favourite players do it. Get in routine, keep the ball still, you'll hit the sweet spot of it and be able to kick the goals. Now, I do have to mention one more thing about it. There was a guy, I don't know where he came from. He might have come from level 3. He came down, he was about 20 metres away from his source, came down to the fence, wasn't sitting in the section, and the ball's down the other end. Max King's on Harris Andrews at the 50, and he is yelling, verbal diarrhea at Max King. Yo, shit, mate, what are you doing? You've kicked 5 behind. You've cost us the game.
Obviously. St Kilda fan.
St Kilda fan.
Poor form.
Bit of a mullet, the Jack Sinclair type. And just giving him an absolute spray for about 30 seconds, and then walked off. And I'm just sitting there
good on you, mate.
Jeez, you're on this side of the fence, mate. Like, let him do his work. I know it's frustrating. He'd be more upset than anyone.
And the fact that we've talked about this for 5 minutes, it wouldn't be good for him either. Like, it'd be hard He obviously knows that he's wrong. It's like a typical when you hear basketball coaches yell out and they yell at the player straight after a turnover. It's like, yeah, I know I stuffed up. I can see the turnover. I don't need you telling me as well. He'd be very aware of it, and it sounds like he's doing the hard work. It's hopefully over the preseason. It seems like it's a mental thing, and we know that the yips are a very prevalent thing in sports, and hopefully he can get over it. Because
how's this for a transition?
It's a shame, Pez, because I agreed with what you said at the start of the year when you were talking about him for the Coleman, and I also agreed about you saying
that he kicked 50 goals.
That in the modern era, he's probably our best chance of having someone else kick 600, 700 goals going forward.
Yeah. How's this for a transition? Do you remember the day Cam Rayner was kicking for goal? He missed it after the siren to win the game.
Yeah.
Fagan out on the ground, put his arm around him. It's all right, mate.
Yep.
He didn't drop him, didn't do anything like
great.
that. Nothing in the media. He turned around last night, kicked a great goal on the run from 51, 52 metres out. 3 goals in the last quarter to get Will Brisbane over the line, shush the crowd and up and about. I was actually sitting with his mother and his older brother there in the front row. With my missus as well, and geez, they were going absolutely insane.
I love the shush the crowd, Pez. You know, we've sort of been the media's been very critical lately of AFLs and the way that they have been human and they are interacting with the crowd, and now it's, you know, like you look at Ginnivan and Ginnivan or whatever his name is, and the way that they've, you know, interacting, it's all negative.
You can't win.
You love seeing this, Pez. You love kicking a goal, and the young fella, you know, who's put a lot of work in, a lot of hard work. You know, you know,
coming back from a knee,
yeah, huge form, you know, slump that he'd been in, and return to the big stage, a win in Victoria, which Brisbane needed to shush the crowd after obviously they had put themselves in that own position anyway. But that's neither here nor there. So great to see, Pez, and it was a great game of footy.
Yeah,
well, for most people.
It was for most people, and
not for the gentleman with the mullet, but
not for him. He did not have a good night, but yeah, Rayner, he had the interviews afterwards, but he came out, and you know they give the footies out after the game.
Good to see, yeah.
He came out and gave it to his mum, and his mum was so rapt. All she wanted was a footy, and then it was so funny. Like Darcy Gardner's the next one to come near where we were. And she was like hiding the footy under the fence. Darcy, come over. She wanted to get another footy. She was up and about.
Oh, typical, eh? You're going to love the mums at the AFL. All right, Pez, it's not a St Kilda podcast, as we know. It's a Geelong podcast.
No, but I did bet.
Yes.
Minus 13.5, 2 units on it, and at $2. So return 2 units, so plus 2 units so far for the round.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in this one, Pez. I had the Daniel McStay. I had my cheeky in this one, so
Cheeky!
I didn't get away with it.
Cheeky!
It's one for good measure because it's one of those. That's probably why this one didn't get up. It didn't get the cheeky, the willingness home of it. So I had McStay to kick 3 or more goals. He only had 1. Had a couple of opportunities actually, Pez, and they were looking for their forwards a little bit more actually, which is good because it's something that Brisbane has needed for a little bit. That more structured forward. Brisbane plus 13.5. That was a bit of a sweat early on, but that got in there. And I had pick your own total 153.5, Pairs 147. So fell short by a couple of goals there, and probably the couple of goals the next night needed.
Yeah, he didn't.
Loss of 1 unit. Sorry,
he didn't McStay at home. There was a couple of other forwards that overtook him in that day. He only got the 1 goal. So we move on, and it is Saturday special. We've got Saturday and Sunday to go. We've got the Bulldogs taking on the Giants today.
We do, Pez, and thank you for that little time waster there. Western Bulldogs taking on Great Western Sydney, the first game of the day, 1:45. And Pez, it is a ripper day in Melbourne. Oh, the sun is out. I could see you there. Now that you've lost a little bit of weight, about to get the guns out. The singlets are coming out for sure there, Pez.
Lost some weight. I've been within a 10 kilo range since I was about 15 years old. I've been going.
Hey,
right.
I said it when I walked in here. The white's very trimming on you, and even your missus said it as well, and she was a bit upset at you actually for
losing weight.
For losing weight.
I haven't even lost any weight.
Do you know what it actually was? Not enough beers. I'm a bit disappointed there's no breakfast beers here, Pierce. So while you get those for me, let's get into the game. Western Bulldogs 117 favourites against the other team 490 outsiders. Told you, Pierce, not talking about them. Minus 31.5 is the line. $1.90 after both teams had a pretty decent sort of week last week. You know, Western Bulldogs were in that game. I probably should have beaten Fremantle, Pez, but were disappointing in terms of converting. And the other team, they smacked Essendon. So over 173.5 is the total game points. Pez, which way are you swinging?
Yeah, well, I've been disappointed with the Giants. So the Giants,
have you? Me too.
The Giants came out and they just were all offense source. They put Himmelberg down back and they were all offense. And the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've been back to that defensive mindset. I don't know what it is or what's changed. So I'm staying away from the total game score for both teams and the GWS Giants and the Lions and things like that. I think the Bulldogs need to absolutely kick the living daylights out of them today. But what I've done is I've just gone total team score. The Bulldogs, it's quite high, over 102.5 at $1.95. I put a unit on it because I think the Dogs just dominate in that midfield and score heavily today.
Yeah, I really hope they do dominate in that midfield, Pairs. I've gone with Moneyball, one of their head-to-head specials. I love the Saturday recording, Pairs, because it means they're all out, and there's some really good value if you can if you look into it. So Josh Dunkley taking on Lachie Whitfield. Sportsbet have the over/under disposals ranked for Dunkley 25.5 versus the 23.5. So I like that. I think that they do control the ball a lot in that middle. So I've gone 2 units, Pairs, on that one. Oh, it actually might be. It's $2, sorry, because I just looked at one of the other ones. It's $2.10. So $2, 2 units on Just Dunkley to get more disposals than Lockie Whitfield in this game.
Oh, so not even the line, just more than
Whitfield. And I think, as you said, I think they control that midfield. Hopefully, GWS go a little bit more defensive mindset again, so that they're.
You want the ball going forward because
Exactly
when
right.
Dunkley plays forward, he's a great overhead mark for the size he is as well. So all over the Bulldogs today. Moving on to Adelaide and North, which is very interesting. What happened in this?
There's so many stories in this game, Pez. This is a stories within stories. I'll do the odds and then we can talk about the stories here. Adelaide $1.14 favourites taking on North Melbourne $5.50 outsiders. Minus 33.5 is the line. Over under 161.5 Pez. The main story, which is the feel good story, Pez, and there's not a lot of analysts of this. Cunnington coming back after his second bout of some testicular cancer and the struggles he's had. Played a game last week in the VFL, picked up 15 touches, and what I loved about this, Pez, I don't know if you've seen it on the North Melbourne website. They went in there and they got him up there. They go, Cunners come up to the front there, and he goes, right, you've had a really great battle. And he went around to all the teammates and they said, Jai Simpkin, what do you like playing about with him? And they just went through all his teammates about what they love about playing with him and having him alongside. And the message was clear. He's courageous. He bleeds blue and white, the poor bloke.
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone else walks stronger and they play better when he's out there getting all the hard nuts. So congratulations to him to get back. It's a great story, Pez.
Yeah, he's been a shining light the last 5 years for North Melbourne because he's been absolutely amazing and a good inside midfielder who tackles hard and would fit into any good side. But unfortunately, he's with them. But the biggest, well, I don't know if it's a bigger story. Probably not a bigger story.
It's probably a bigger talking point because there's so much uncertainty about it, Pez.
We've got the number one draft pick.
Yeah.
Jason Horne-Francis. He's from Adelaide to go home and play in front of his family and friends. North have just gone, you know what? We don't have a coach. We don't have anything. We're going to drop you. You're omitted this week. You don't get to play in front of your family at the Adelaide Oval.
It's very interesting, Pez. The media, Mitch Kearley came out with a story that the reason he hasn't been picked for it is for disciplinary issues within the club, that he basically didn't have an ice bath or didn't go through the stretching protocols after the last game or after a training session in front of the coaches, so that's why they've dropped him.
Okay, so they've put it pretty clear cut. You've done this and gone there. You've dropped him.
To me, all it is a very clear backpedal, and he obviously has told the club, I'm not signing on with you guys. That's the only reason they can not be playing him in his first return to Adelaide and an opportunity to play in front of his home crowd and to showcase his skills with his family and that. He wants to play. For me, it's very hard to see North Melbourne actually putting any effort to convince him to stay at Arden Street, so surely he must have told him. Has to have.
Yeah, well, it came out earlier in the year, didn't it? There's been all sorts of issues around there. I think he wants to play for Port Adelaide or Adelaide and go to one of them. But the big news as well is Clarko is getting closer and closer, apparently, to an announcement to sign on as coach of North Melbourne. So that's another spanner in the works. What does he do with Jason Horne-Francis? Can he convince him to stay, or is he already too far gone?
I mean, you'll be watching the TV this week, aren't you? If you'll be looking in the crowd for Clarko, see if he's going to be at the game. If he's at the game, that gives a pretty clear indication because two good opportunities for a potential coach to see. You know, they're playing sides that are around about the same sort of stead as them. You know, GWS are playing. We just spoke about them. Pez, they're playing the Dogs. You know, arch rivals. You can see how they're playing against that team like that. It's at the similar sort of time slot too, so you can see where the preference and where they're leaning. So hopefully we see Clarko at North Melbourne because Pez, you know, as much as we shit on them a fair bit, you don't want to see a football club go the way that they're going, and everything seems to be, you know, going poorly for North Melbourne. It has been for some time.
Yeah, it seems like their list is still not there, and they're still in a rebuild phase where they're going to have to continue to do clean-outs and try and get some young talent in there. But for my bet for the game source, I've stayed away from the big line. 32.5 I saw it as, and I don't know who's going to get it there, so I've stayed right away from it. I've just gone most disposals, which is rare on Sportsbet. Rory Laird, $2.02. He was about $1.90 on other bookies, so $2.02, 1 unit on there. Hopefully Rory Laird can keep up his form, and I think it was $1.83 for 35 plus. So if he gets that, he good chance to get most disposals there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sort of bet there, Pez. I'm just making sure that I have my right bet there before I get into it with you. I've gone a 2-leg bonus bet with Tab from my multi last week. I split the bet, Pez, so I've got $25 to spend in this one. I've gone Ben Cunnington to get 20 or more disposals. I think they might try and get him in there, and he'll lead by example. He'll be playing on a little bit of adrenaline. And I've gone Cam Zerha. 2+ goals. I thought this was a bit of a inaccuracy in the market for Tab. They had him as anytime goal scorer, $1.11, and then to kick 2 or more, $1.86. And I think that's it's a rarity that you get there.
That's a Stengel type.
Yeah. So
odds.
I think that they'll North Melbourne. Obviously, they're not playing a great team in Adelaide. They know that the ball will be down there a little bit more. They'll obviously address Larky after his 7 goals last week. So I think they can get that $2.30 Pairs, and I'll put my bonus bet on that one.
Yeah, all right. And we move to the next one. I'm interested to hear what this time slot is up at the Gold Coast.
Yeah, Gold Coast, 4:35 Pairs. About the time I'll be getting to the pub this afternoon and watching this one. This is a huge danger game, I think, for Gold Coast, for Geelong. Gold Coast season should be over, but they're playing at the Fortress in Gold Coast there, and we know how they play. Maybe Geelong are resting a few names there. 385 outsiders are the Suns, $1.25 Geelong, minus 23.5 is the line. Over under 155.5.
Yeah, it is. He's up at Gold Coast, who've played well up there. So the line is a little bit strange, but I've put something together here. I do really enjoy watching Brad Close, even last week. So you got
on the Pez special, have you?
Segler out. You got Dalhouse, Duncan, O'Connor, and Isaac Smith. So managing a few. Dalhouse omitted after his decent performance, I guess, last week. But Dangerfield, Selwood, Rowan, Blixarves come in. So there's some big ins for them. I think Geelong can get this done pretty easily, but I've put a little cheeky same-game multi together. So whatever colour button that is.
Not that one.
Cheeky!
Wrong blue, Pez.
The Saturday special with... What was that other one? It was get the drum kit out. All right. I've gone an alternate total points over 151.5. Beautiful day up on the Gold Coast. No dew at night, so I think it should go over there.
Just Stuart dew.
Geelong Cats, I've put it down a little bit. Minus 15.5, the try bet, the alternate line there. So put it down 8 points. I think Geelong get the win pretty comfortably. They need to consolidate top spot because they want to have a home final at the MCG, maybe against Collingwood or something like that.
Or against Melbourne. Yeah,
like what usually happens, which would be awesome. And Brad Close, 15 plus disposals here. He's been getting around the ground. He's been getting close to this mark source. He's around $1.76 by himself for 15 plus. And instead of having him for a goal, I think he'll go around Metricon Stadium, collect 15 or more, and that's cheeky at $5.44, 1 unit on that.
That is cheeky. And just for listeners who are following along at home, the Pez special, still great market there. $3.20, Tom Atkins 15, Brad Close anytime, and Stengel 2 goals. You can still get Atkins unbelievably at the $1.22, which is incredible. So I've gone something different, Pez. I like what you said.
Oh, you didn't go Pez special?
No, I didn't go Pez special.
Neither did I.
No,
all right.
No. So
it's very special, isn't it?
Was very special. So it's so special that none of us going. I'll use the other half of my bonus bet on this one, Pez. I love what you said about Geelong. I think that they do need to win this game whilst they are resting their players, and Gold Coast will be up and about. Definitely a danger game, but I think that they get the job done. The Geelong side in a long time, Pez, they're going to really struggle at finals time for selection because there isn't a weakness at the moment. They're number one in offense. They're number one in defense. They're only probably the thing that they need is a ruckman, but they seem to be getting fine with that. So Geelong head-to-head for the win and over 155.5 Pairs. I agree. I think that's really low. Stuart Dew, whilst he does make an impact on the Gold Coast, I don't think he'll make the ground too dewy. So I've gone with that. The other half of the bonus on it, Pairs.
Can't use it twice.
$2.40 Pairs. There's my bonus bet for that one.
I can't use it in the same game, but the big clash, Melbourne versus Carlton, where Paddy Cripps went to the tribunal, didn't get off of his 2-week suspension, and then appealed it again, and he's free to play.
Yeah, new angles, Pez. New angles. The AFL's iPhones on the bench, they were doing their best thing. They got it from the Arc. They got it from the Ark.
Was that what it was called?
I don't know where they got
The
it
bunker?
from. The bunker. Sakakis. You go to the NBA one.
What's the Major League Baseball one called?
Oh, I don't know.
They're in New York, I think.
New York. Well, this game, Pez, this should be an absolute cracker. There's so much at stake for this one. Melbourne need to win this just to get back, into form, because whilst everyone is saying that they are the sleeping giant and they're slowly coming along, you still got to bank the wins. And coming into finals, a win-loss record is not what you want. So Melbourne favourites at $1.33. Carlton, with Cripps inclusion, $3.25 outsiders. And they need to keep their season alive. For Carlton fans, making finals needs to be the benchmark. And for them to, after all this time of being in the top 8 since round 1, they have not left the top 8 all year, to fall out in the last round would be really disappointing. So the line is 19.5 pairs in favour of the Ds, over under 153.5. Can Carlton get this win, or do Melbourne snap back and they hit the finals form?
Look, Carlton have had a bit of a distraction this week with the Paddy Cripps news, and he's going to come back into the side. He's going to continue to play. He's an out-and-out superstar, and this Carlton midfield really needs to stand up against Melbourne, and their backline will be a very interesting matchup. I think, Stephen May, Jake Lever versus Charlie Curnow and McKay on the MCG. Looking forward to this one, but it's a must-win for Melbourne. If Melbourne don't win this, their premiership chances can go out the window. They got Brisbane in the last round up at the Gabba Source. They sit on 56 points in 4th position at the moment. Collingwood and Brisbane above them on 60, and the Cats on 64. So they're not getting above the Cats anyway. But if Melbourne lose this and Sydney beat Collingwood tomorrow, Melbourne are out of the top 4 heading into the last round of the season, going up to the Gabba away from home against Brisbane.
Tough.
Absolute must win. I've got Melbourne winning. I've got Carlton fighting for their season as hard as they can. So I've gone Melbourne 1-39. Put a unit on it at $1.95. I can't wait for this contest. It's going to be a massive crowd, probably Carlton dominant over there at the MCG. And it's just going to be spectacular.
Yeah, it's going to be a great Saturday night clash. It'll be great to be watching tonight with a few froths at the pub, Bez. And everything you said is correct there. It's such an important game for both clubs for different reasons. But I think Melbourne are just going to be too strong. They were pretty good last week, and they should have had the win last week. They'll go through and address those, I think. And I think Carlton are going to find it really tough to score. I've gone in this one, Pez. Just gone with Moneyball head-to-head. Clayton Oliver to get more disposals than Sam Walsh. $2, jumped 50 on that one, Pez. I think Oliver, old Clary there, he gets in there and absolutely gets it done, because the last couple of weeks he's been amazing with the pill. He got tagged out a little bit last week, but was still able to collect a heap of the pill.
Yep. So against Walsh there and against the grain, you'll take that, and we head over to
against the grain there, Pez. Eh?
Yeah, against the grain. You need to grow up from the ground up.
Cool. Speaking of the ground, we head over to what should be an absolute blood feud, Pez. We head over to our favourite stadium, or second favourite, I guess, for now. It's all about the letters, SBS Stadium. Freo taking on West Coast in the derby. $8 favourites are the Dockers. West Coast, after a disappointing last couple of years, $8 outsiders respectively. Minus 41.5. That line has actually creeped out a little bit since Thursday, Pez. That was sitting about 38.5 early in the week, but after the announcement of who's playing and who's not, a little bit of a creep there. Over 153.5 is the line. Pez, Fremantle surely is sheer dominance.
Yeah, sheer dominance is it's kind of hard at 41.5 or
it's huge.
Whatever it is at the moment. I think Fremantle absolutely dominate. No Kennedy, no Tim Kelly, he's suspended. Willie Rioli out with personal reasons. So
no JK either.
Yeah. So I said that first.
Oh, sorry, my apologies.
He after his 8 goals 2 last week and couldn't get the win.
Should have been 9 and could have got the win as well.
Yeah. But it didn't happen.
Can I ask, why isn't this his last game? Like, why is he not playing this? Why was last week his last game, just in the middle of the thing? Like, surely he...
Did he want to end on a win? And
is that what it was?
Adelaide is more...
Well, they got
home game?
Have they got North Melbourne in
home
the last game?
West Coast home game. Because over there with the ticketing system,
this
is a Fremantle home game. So I'm guessing he wanted to play in front of the West Coast home crowd.
Wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it? Just to pick your wins and losses. Hey,
pick and choose. He had a stellar career over
over 700 goals and 2 club player.
Yeah.
There you go for trivia.
No, but Fremantle, Sulkowski actually comes back into the side, who played a stellar role earlier in the season. So hopefully he can play into the finals as well. I think Fremantle dominate. I like them at the 38.5 they were earlier in the week. I think they get it done by 40 plus, and West Coast, their miserable season is nearly at an end.
It is nearly at an end, Pez. And actually, if you actually want a little bit of a decent sort of bet, you go the 40 plus. and that's $1.81. So the 41.5 at $1.90 is pretty good. But if you that 0.1, that one little half one is.
You get 2 points if you go 40 plus because you can win by 40 or 41.
Exactly right. I've gone with, as you said, without Tim Kelly in there. I think that Fremantle are going to dominate this midfield. Caleb Strong to get more disposals than Andrew Gaff. I know Andrew Gaff has been a staple of that West Coast sort of back line of floating in, but I just think Fremantle, the younger brother, as we spoke about the other week, Pez, they need to have dominance. This should be an easy 4 points.
Keep the foot down.
They need to keep the foot down, and I believe that Caleb Strong's a big part of that. $2.10, which I love this one, Pez. So I've gone at 50.1 with Moneyball, him to get more disposals than Gaff.
All right, well, take it. They're a 2-unit special, and we head into Sunday footy, which is tomorrow. I can't believe it's a Saturday.
And it's a big one, Pez. Normally the Sunday time slot has been one of those ones with the forgotten game, but there's a couple of big games for different reasons. Again, Richmond, Hawthorn. Richmond still trying to keep their finals hope alive. Take on Hawthorn. $1.30 favourites are the Tigers. $3.40 outsiders the Hawks. -22.5 over 170.5. Pez. This game's really important for Richmond. They have been a side that has been quite. They're quite high in a lot of the stats. Inside 50. Their shots on goal, the efficiency ratings. They have the staple and the stats of a team that should be playing finals, but they need to get this win to make sure of it.
Yeah, I think they're a pretty strong side at the moment in terms of the personnel that they've got. We know they're missing Dustin Martin, but they've got a lot of other players in there that are standing up. They've got their forwards back, and the line's 22.5, which you don't usually like in a Richmond game because the games go nice and close. But this game, all or nothing for Richmond. They had it last week. They absolutely dominated. Were able to beat the Power by 38. I think they win this big against Hawthorn and the MCG. They need to. They need to have that mentality. They, got dominated at this ground against Brisbane in the first half and were able to come back and win. I don't think they let that happen this time, which is why they win by 4+ goals. And I've got them a unit there, $1.91 at -22.5. They just have to win.
Yeah, they have to win, Pez, but they have. I mean, they're pretty safe in terms of percentage, but they're one of those things where you don't want to make any sort of uncertainties about it. You need to go hard. You need to keep the foot down, as we just said. There's so many things are ticking their boxes. They're playing an out of form Hawthorn. They're playing at the MCG. This is where you get a couple of the hands through football through hands. Get the team morale up. Get Shea Bolton has been absolutely amazing this year, and Noah Bolton as well. So just you need to get them going. I think that the Tigers take it. I don't like the line, as you said, because they normally are quite close. But I guess if I had to lean, I'd be going towards the Tigers. No bet for me, Pez.
Fair enough. I obviously like it.
You do.
No, the biggest clash on the Sunday.
This is the biggest one, and it's a shame this one's at the SCG. This would have been great to see at the MCG. You would have got 90,000 there, the old South Melbourne Bloods fans there. Sydney taking on Collingwood. Collingwood have a surprisingly good record at the SCG up in Sydney. Sydney favourites $1.36. Collingwood hoping to keep their 11-game winning streak alive, which is unheard of. $3.08 are the odds for that one. -20.5 is the line, over 172.5. Pez. Do the Collingwood Magpies make it 12, or do Sydney defy the odds and the tipping gods, because Collingwood have screwed everyone's tipping, and they get that win and a top 4 finish, hopefully, or maybe even a top 2?
You tip the Swans. You don't love the line unless you think that Collingwood are a chance of win. Then you love the line on the Collingwood side. But I'm going to stay away from this totally and just being a bystander, trying to barrack for Sydney on the day and hope that Collingwood can drop out of that top 4 and lose that first elimination final. That'd be great.
I'm loving this game for the narrative that's going to unfold. No matter what happens, people have their eyes glued to it to the fourth quarter, because if Sydney get out to a nice early lead, we know Collingwood's history of just chipping away at it, that never say die attitude coming back. And if Collingwood get out to a decent sort of league, well, then the Collingwood chance will probably going up at the SCG as well, Pez, and it's going to be a great game to watch. I've gone with our friends at Mint Bets, Pez, the anytime scorer for Buddy Franklin. Bye-bye, Buddy, anytime goal scorer at the SCG. The Swan song, I love it. $20 on that one, Pez. So is
that the max?
That's the max you can do. The max bet, 20 at $2 odd, Pez. I love that from Mint Bet.
All right, yeah, take that mint bet and go. And then the last game, which is pretty relevant in terms of the season.
Dead rubber, Pez. So much so that I've got my bet in this game is a better one. So it's a long-lasting one. Essendon versus Port Adelaide, $1.72. Favourites are the Bombers I guess you have to have a favourite in the games like this. Port Adelaide outsiders at 2.10 after a real disappointing season and a lot of coach talk and Koshy coming out in the Wheaton confirming he will be there next year.
Wonderful.
Yeah, good on them. Minus 4.5, over 170.5 pairs. You know it's a slow week for Port Adelaide coming into a game like this when they've already started the chatter about the Prison Bars jersey for next week. That's literally what they've been talking about this week.
No interest in this one from me. You can move right along.
Yeah, I've got no interest in this game, Pez, but I do have interest in some Essendon markets that I came across on Sportsbet, Pez. How good's this one? What will happen first? And they've got odds to it.
Here we go. Something to do with finals.
$1.75, Brisbane Lions to win a home game at the MCG. So to win a game at the MCG, $1.75. Haven't done it in 10 years. Essendon Bombers to win a final. What odds do you reckon they're giving?
Well, is it only those two things?
There's one other one.
They'd have to give, say, $2.20, $2.30.
$7.
What?
$7 buckaroos for them to win a final before Brisbane win a home game.
I thought it was going opposite of the $1.75.
And neither of these to happen in 2023. Too viddy.
Oh, there we go. That's what they've done.
How's Sportsbet just throwing absolute daggers at Essendon? Pez, I've chucked my house on Brisbane Lions to win a game at the MCG before the Bombers. Hopefully they can do it this year.
They better be fixtured there. They better be fixtured there if you're going to do it because they hardly ever play at the MCG.
Yeah, I know, but that's so ridiculous that Essendon to win a final, $7, and literally that's like 12 months away. And the probably your best bets needed them to happen in 2023 at $2.50.
Yeah, we'll go from there. But
do you like that one, did you, Pez?
I do like that. Well done, Sportsbet. I don't, scour through Sportsbet these days, unfortunately.
Had a quiet lunch break. So
yeah. We're into the multis.
We're into the multis, Pez.
Now, I mentioned a Saturday special, and I'm going to go first because it is my multi-one source because obviously I've got two multis, but this is my Ladbrokes bonus bet from last week. And just a note, I actually stuffed up.
Yeah.
I had a tab bonus bet from last week for my multi, the $50 one, which Melbourne lost. I spent it this morning on a baseball multi, so I've cost myself a $50 bonus bet for the pod.
Oh, I remember doing that one week, Pez, and I realised on the Monday, and then I spent all week. I think I told you about this. I had the sports bet had the sports bet had if your horse finishes second or third, you get your money back in a bonus. I'm like, oh, you little ripper! I'll just put 50 down on the favourite, and if it, it wins or no, actually I think I started off with the second one. Boom, first one, 250 win. I thought, oh shit. So I put the next race on. Boom, another 150. I thought, oh my god. The only time you actually want to come second or third, and I couldn't do it. I was up $600, Pez. Then I said to you, I'm just gonna have to throw it away. Like it was horrible. It was great, but it was horrible.
Unbelievable. So I cost myself a $50 bonus bet. I'll wear it because it's my mistake.
Oh, you can put that as a loss, like your one void unit, Pez.
Just one flog, just one thing. But I've got my Ladbrokes multi here. It's a 1 unit bonus bet. I've got the Bulldogs, and I've put an alternate handicap of minus 15.5 into Adelaide Crows to win 1-39. So the lines are 32.5. I'm hoping North Melbourne can put up a little bit of a fight there. Gold Coast versus Geelong. Geelong minus 23.5, the normal line there. Melbourne 1-39 against Carlton. And Fremantle.
Oh, it's a biggie. Just
put it alternate, minus 57.5. Just put it a bit bigger there. It's a 285 by itself. The odds there, $31.13.
Cheeky.
Very, very cheeky, but my bonus there to return a shitload.
What's the shitload?
If you work it out in units, about $750.
Yeah, nice, Pez. That's pretty decent. Well, 2 units is 50, so that's a lot.
4 times 7, 28 units. It's about 30 units.
Oh, it's about what I make just as a season overall. So it'd be good of you playing catch up there, Pez. Oh, with me, I've stuck by the rules. Just the 3-leg same game multi. I had Brisbane last night, which is a nice little green tick already. It's always good going into the Saturday when you only need 2 more, Pez. And none of these legs are actually on till Sunday. So I've got Richmond and Sydney both to get the chocolates there. 256 are the odds, and I've put 2 units on that one, Pez.
Yeah, I couldn't get it as high as that. I've had to put 4 legs. I didn't include last night's game, so I've got the Bulldogs to win at a low price, $1.18. Fremantle $1.10. So low price. Geelong $1.24.
Does $1.10 count for tab? I thought it was $1.13.
No, $1.10.
Is it?
if you can find the terms and conditions, be my guest, because I can't. But Geelong $1.24 and Richmond $1.28 altogether. It's only $2.06. I put the 2 units on that and hoping to return the 4, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think it is the $1.13 because I had a look at that. I had a look at that last week, Piers, because I was unsure about the bonus bet because one of the weeks they didn't give me a bonus bet.
Yeah,
you are right; it's really difficult. We'll put it out on Twitter if that is the case, Piers.
Oh, we'll see if I lose by 1 leg. I'll see if I get a bonus or not.
That's not going to lose.
That'll tell the story.
That's a great.
You like that one?
I do like that one.
You like that one? Richmond Geelong. Yeah, Fremantle Bulldogs.
Well, yeah,
Can't lose.
All my favourites there. All my favourites there.
Well, there we go. There's the week.
Yes,
Let's get this
special.
Let's get this pod out so people can maybe have a listen before the first game. And,
It'd be nice.
Get it going. I'm Pez. Peace out.
I'm still Sauce. We'll catch up next time, guys. And as always, if you're having a punt, bet responsibly.